Get ready to go on in a minute. Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up? This Dame in the building. We live. We back, baby.
You already know what it is, man. It's Ant, Mr. Not Your Regular.
We got a super, super duper special guest.
Yes.
We got the commissioner of the city of Philadelphia in the building, Omar Sabir.
Yo, chairman commissioner now, man.
Chairman.
A little respect on that thing.
Oh, man, talk heavy,
A little
man.
respect on it.
He at the top of the food chain.
But before we get into the show, I'm going to just hop into a little light sports, little topics. Yeah. Then we're going to get into the interview with my man. But far as sports, man, in the NBA Finals, things is getting heated up. People getting sent home, packed up, sent to Disney World, wherever they going. Listen, Indiana fought hard, man. The Celtics got them out of here. You know, the NBA Finals is really tightening up, man. I got to give a special shout-out to a good brother I love, Kyrie Irving, man. He playing his heart out.
Man.
Man, I mean, like,
he
focused, just man. On another level.
Another level, man.
I can really see him winning the chip, man, you know, so.
Well, they got to get there. I mean, because you got a lot of people that got some things on their chest, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because Celtics,
we got the Celtics,
man. They won one too, man. Yeah. They focused too, man.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a good. It's gonna be a good series, man.
Yeah,
like, you know,
definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, the NBA Finals definitely heating up.
But they got to get in there though, right? It was 3-0, right?
Yeah. No, the Celtics.
I'm talking about the Kyrie and them.
Yeah. Oh, they only up. But no, man, it don't look good. It don't look good right now for the Timberwolves. They got with 4 games.
Young boys got some heart. You never know, man.
Man, it ain't that much heart in a lion, man. You gonna beat Kyrie 4 times straight. That's crazy. Man.
That's crazy.
So they got to pull out a miracle.
They got to pull out a miracle.
Well, sometime in the league, they take your heart a little bit, man. And the Timberwolves starting to look defeated, man. You know, I love him, man. You know, Ant-Man, he's a thorough young boy. But he's learning the ranks of the NBA.
Yeah, I was just about to say he got some growth.
Western Conference Finals, that's something different. That's not
some
the
growth,
same.
man. It take time, man.
He's definitely headed to good places, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
you know, he definitely on his
come
way.
back. I mean, you know, the one thing about basketball, like, you know, you could be around for a minute. Football, it's like you get that one shot and that's it.
Yeah,
there's a possibility your whole team could just have to make it back again, man.
Man,
that's why I kind of like football a little bit better than basketball.
Yeah, you like football better, huh?
Yeah, because you only get one shot, man. Like, you know, you figure like Dan Marino. Mm-hmm. Like his first year, he made it to the Super Bowl. He ain't never make it back, man.
Right.
As great as he was, man.
Man, think about what was
Aaron Rodgers, he got there when he didn't get back, man.
No, think about who was that? Jim Kelly, that the one kick that he couldn't win the Super Bowl. That was the craziest thing in history.
You got to be a Tom Brady, man.
He was one kick away.
Yeah, he was one in a lifetime type ball.
But he had a lot around him. He had good team, good front office, good everything. But also with you know, speaking of football, the Eagles are trying to make a lot of moves. A lot of people are excited about the upcoming season.
They trying.
You know, hopefully we got our pieces together, man.
I feel like that's too often where we feel that way.
Hold up. A little side note on the Eagles. They say the backup quarterback is giving Jalen some runs in practice.
Oh, the boy Pinkett? No, his hand's small, man.
Man, they say he looks. They say he looking really good in practice, man.
I don't know about Pinkett, man.
I'm just saying.
Look, they ready to throw away Jalen already.
Yeah.
No, we ain't gonna throw him away.
We ain't gonna do that to Jalen.
But you got to stay on your P's and Q's, man. It might be a young fella coming out.
He is, but I think with the Eagles, I don't think we just got to put no pressure on them. Like, when they did well, we ain't put the pressure on them. When you start talking all that Super Bowl and all that, like, let them play each game, take it week by week, and we support them.
Hey, we in Philly, man. We want the Super Bowl, man.
You
remember when the people was cheering off the top of the buildings down Center City, man?
I remember.
People
they was
want
climbing
that
up.
fella to
They were climbing up on the street poles, man. They don't do that everywhere, bro. They hanging up on top of the John on Broad Street.
I ain't never seen nothing like that, man. You know?
And they don't do that everywhere. That's the thing. They don't do it everywhere. They do it here.
And
they pick grease on the pole. They find a way around it. Man.
that's part of some of their tradition.
Yeah.
But and quick Philly news, man. There was a lot of violence over the weekend for Labor Day.
Yes.
A couple people was killed in like a 45-minute, an hour range or something.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, do we stop going to cookouts and block parties? I mean, what do we do?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, so here's the thing, though. Right, the overall number is going down.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that when they do start to happen, they be real bad, where they just don't have no place, and it's like, that's the way how people are resolving their issues now, and it's a lot more younger, teenagers getting shot now. Yeah. We was younger, it would be over drugs, it would be over something, but now it's just like you step on my shoes the wrong way, or a social media post, or just the way how they don't want to fight. It's like it's not even nobody even want to fight no more. They don't want to try to fight.
So that's the thing about social media now. They're able to taunt their ops, their families and things like that. And that's when they get real goofy out there.
Yeah, and then people, they making these challenges. I cut my location on, all that, just in general. I just never really put my location on, just in general, man. I just don't want nobody just knowing where I'm at, like, all the time.
Well, you kind of important, man.
I am, but I'm just saying just in general. You can't be popping off and then say, I'm right here, right now, come.
Yeah.
You got the location,
we're in a different
exact
thing,
address,
man.
where you at, like.
They will call your bluff.
Yeah.
They'll call it.
They will call your bluff real quick.
Man, real quick.
Yeah. But, before we get deep or even get into the interview, I just want to get his brother his flowers on being like a true example for our community. A lot of time we teach our kids be ball players, do this, do that. And some real examples in our community we don't see or don't know. I don't know different positions and different jobs that's held in the city. And this brother just been like an example since we was young, man. I know he come from beautiful stock, but he just sturdy, good father, family man, an example for the Muslim community. Any young brother that's coming up out here, man, do some research on this brother, man. Just all out good brother, man. And we got to give the flowers and really know what to, look up to. And he's one of them guys, man. I'm just saying. I have to do this before I start because he came to Filoosh Talk with no questions asked. And I love that. I really feel his heart. And I know he's a good brother, We is in the same class, man. So
well, full disclosure, right. Full disclosure. I've known this brother my whole entire life.
Right.
Went to Claire Muhammad school together. So of course, but I would have came here if I didn't know the brother. Like, but in general, these platforms are so critical when we're talking to our family and our friends. We have to sort of challenge other people too. I want to invite just me, invite the mayor, invite the governor, invite the president, invite them all out. Then see who show up. You know what I mean? And most of the times, I can't say if their schedule is free, they're going to show up. They're going to show up.
Right.
And, we have to sort of keep on doing this so that way our family and friends know, okay, this is for real business right here that we're dealing with. Right. We're talking about this business of our tax-paying dollars.
Right.
Which is all of our tax-paying dollars. You don't need a hookup. You don't need at the end of the day, you reach out to any elected official, you pay their salary. So they're going to respond to you, right? You send an email, send a call, you stop into their office, they're there for you. And I think that's what we have to expect. Right. I'm probably thinking, I got to know this guy to let me hook up and all that. Nah. We talk about public money. Every time you purchase candy bar, soda, anything that you do, you spend any money, you sell real estate, anything that you do with your resources, and you spending your money, you work in the city of Philadelphia, we get a wage tax, everything is taxes.
Right.
And so that's where we get all our resources from, where we decide what rec centers get taken care of, what libraries get taken care of, what schools get taken care of. And it's all levels, local, state, federal. They sit down, they make these decisions. And we have to decide that we need to be at the table.
Right.
Because they're taking your money anyway. So it's like, sometimes we don't feel that ownership, like it's them and it's their stuff. No, it's our stuff. We are the people. We are the citizens.
Right.
That's when we talking about in the Constitution, that's really us. We the people. You the people.
Right. So I had a quick question, right? Because I know a lot of people don't know what the role of a city commissioner is and how many spots hold that position.
Right.
Because I just found out, when I did my research on you about it. So I was just wanted to know if you can explain to the people that's looking that may not know what it is.
Sure. So the city commissioners are a 3-member bipartisan board of elected officials, and we oversee the election functions in Philadelphia. So it's real simple. The buck stops with us when it comes to voting.
Right.
We set up all of the voting machines. We tabulate all of the voting results. We hire all of the people that, work on the polls every day.
Mm-hmm.
We pay them. We make sure that everything runs smooth every time you go vote. And there's 3 people. So it's myself, I'm the chairman. And then you have Lisa Daly, she's the vice chair. And then you have Seth Bluestein, he's the Republican. And so he serves as our secretary. So it's 3 people. We make all decisions, we vote on everything. And basically just need 2 people to basically want to run our elections whatever way we want to run it.
Right.
It's basically governed by state, federal laws. And so they sort of give us our mandate, and in between we make our decisions.
Okay. All right, that's good. Well said. Well said.
Yeah.
All right. I want to know, man, there has been an increase in people registering changing their party to independent. What do you think is driving this change?
So there are, I would say, 2 factors. Some people are just tired of the partisan politics now. They don't like what's going on in our country right now. You got your far left, you got your far right. Some people are just in the middle, just like, I just want to be independent.
Right.
But the only thing about voting as an independent is that Pennsylvania is a closed primary. So when you go vote in a primary election, you're not going to be able to vote for a specific candidate. You're going to have to vote for the ballot questions. Right. And then in the general election on November the 5th, that's when you want to vote. So people just got to understand that Pennsylvania is a closed primary. So that means in those primary elections, like the Democratic or Republican races or those, you're not going to be able to vote for a candidate. And that's very critical because in Philadelphia, whoever wins the Democratic primary is typically going to win.
Right.
So if like Mayor Sherelle Parker, if she wins in that Democratic primary, if you have, a significant number of these independents, it could sway a race. I mean, we got close to about 100,000 independents that don't vote in the primaries. Right. And that's very critical because if you talk about 20, 30,000 voters, that can sort of like sway it. That could change the direction of an election.
Right. So since being elected back in 2019, how much progress do you feel like you and the team made in regards to empowering Philadelphians to participate in the voting process and educating communities about the importance of civic engagement?
Sure, man. I was just thinking about that question. I think every policymaker thinks about that every time when they get sworn in. So you get elected in 2019, in that primary election. Then in November in 2019, you get elected in that general election. And then in that 2020 is when you get sworn in. And I was just like, when I think about it, it was just crazy because the pandemic was just picking up. And it was like we was the only office really open in City Hall. So it was like, because you can't move like the election day. It's like the election got to be the election no matter what.
Yeah.
And we had to sort of figure a way out, and we had to just, it was just crazy. But we got through it. I mean, we got about a little over 100 full-time staffers, union, DC 33 and DC 47. We just really just pulled together and just like got it done. So that was the first challenge. Then the second challenge, so they moved the election day from that May to June. They moved it. Then we had the George Floyd protests. So literally that Sunday, election day was on that Tuesday, and that whole thing was happening on Sunday and Monday, so it was just so much going on. And then when we got through those elections, we had to come back around again in November with former President Trump. And it was just like, wow. So we actually, and then we had to usher in the new vote by mail system. So we had, it was a lot. But we delivered, right? I mean, every standard that you can get nationally, internationally from us overseeing that election.
Right.
We got accolades for it. They said it was like the best secure election in the history of our country. And it had so many consequences because after we decided what happened in Philadelphia, that decided who the president was going to be. So that's why former President Trump was always talking like negative stuff about Philadelphia, because Philadelphia is going to decide who the president is going to be, going to decide whoever wins the state of Pennsylvania, it comes to Philadelphia. We got 1 million registered voters.
Wow.
And so in 2016, former President Trump won by 44,000 votes.
Right.
And in 2020, President Biden won by 88,000.
Yeah, so that changed the game.
Changed the game.
That's
There's a
close.
million of us here.
That's close.
You know, but and the thing about it is the majority of the registered voters are African American, Latino, and Asian. It's not even close. So we got to understand like what our power is, and it's not just here in Philadelphia. It's Atlanta, it's Detroit, right? It's Milwaukee and Wisconsin, it's Arizona. All of these key swing states, Detroit, all these places are us.
Yeah, the black
And we make that decision.
Right.
So when they be talking about, oh, them elections is this, them elections is that, it's just to deter you from wanting to do it. There's a lot of racism involved in it.
Right.
And these people really can't, some of these people can't really phantom the idea that black and brown voters will decide who's going to be the president. It just makes them go berserk.
They don't want to believe that.
Right.
Numbers are there, and that's what we got to understand, that we have the power. Far too often, we haven't believed that we don't have any power.
Yeah, it took me a while to believe that myself, because I was one of those people who felt like, you know, well, what if my vote really matters? And it's not going to do much. But like you said, it is our communities.
Well, it's collectively, right? Yeah,
It's
your
a lot
one
of
vote
us,
is not going to do anything.
Right.
But
as
our
a people-
family and friends and everybody, we the people, when we look at it from a collective position, and you can
We
move
can
mountains.
change something.
Yes.
Strength in
we
numbers.
we got a good question. How can we get an open primary?
Oh
Open
man,
primaries.
it's going to take a legislative change. There's a lot of people that want to push for that, but a lot of the resistance is coming from a lot of African American leadership.
Right.
There's a lot of people that want open primaries. Like most of the new independent voters are not African American. So if you do got open primaries and you do have independents voting in like a Democratic primary, some critics say that's going to dilute the African American vote. So they're going to push back on that. But again, it's a legislative change. If you want to have that open primary, you're going to have to reach out to your state legislators. That's all your state representatives. That's all your state senators. And that's your governor, Josh Shapiro. And you want to ask them to advocate to say, hey, we want open primaries. You're my state legislator. Can you make that happen?
Okay.
That's the way to make it happen.
Hey, make it happen.
We're going to tell them the way. Huh?
Hey, that's the way. That's what you got to do. You got to
Start speaking
organize.
up.
You got to organize. You got to talk to your elected officials. And again, send them a letter, right? And then you can get your family and friends to sign off on that letter. You know, you could really, the more sophisticated you get, it all depends how much you want to organize. But a lot of times, elected officials, they walk right into a Monday, open up their emails. It might just be an email saying, we want you to do anything. Like put up safety, those speed bumps for our community.
Right.
Or they might want those safety big bike lanes, stuff like that. They might send you an email, but on that email, you might have like 1,000 people on that email. Now those 1,000 people that's on that email, they might all be super voters. And say, you know what, we want you to get this done.
Okay.
Sometimes they might even write the legislation up and send you the legislation, tell the legislation on what you do. Go check in with your lawyers and go ahead and run it. So, you know, it's
So
real simple. But I encourage everyone to look at what authority that each elected official has. You got Philadelphia's local, you got state and Harrisburg, and you got Washington, D.C., your Congress members in the United States Senate. So each one has a certain level of authority, and it's critical to sort of push them and let them do their thing.
All right, real quick. I just want to shout out my daughter because I see she's been texting. What's up, baby? My daughter Peyton. Daddy loves you too. Daddy loves you too, baby girl. I had to shout her out real quick because I seen she been saying some things. So, what's up, baby?
I got a good question for you. What would you say to a young black male that feels like he doesn't have a horse in the race? What would you tell him to encourage him to vote?
I do this all the time. You know, when I talk to younger African American men, I always engage them. I tell them, look, you don't think politics, that you doing politics is going to do you. And when you vote, you're going to get resources and accountability for your community. That's what happens. So, like, we're elected officials. You're the electorate. So either you're going to, you know, make the elected official do their job, or you're just going to keep on sitting back. It's a choice. You know, that pie is always going to keep getting cut up, whether you're sitting there or not. And to be frank, they actually like it when you're not there, so that way I can make my decisions.
Easy.
Right? So it's all public, right? Everything that we do is public, whether it's city council, the state, this school district, all the decisions that they make, who get the contracts, who get the job they make, all these decisions in public. A lot of times we just sort of let them off the hook and let these things happen. I know people say, well, I'm working every day, I can't do it. Everything is online. You can go back to those transcripts when you're not at work, and you can sit back, read, go through everything, organize. And then that way you keep the pressure on. Mm-hmm. And it's, believe it or not, and then when some people come back and you say, hey man, you did this on a record, you did that on a record. Hey man, we didn't like what you did right there. Sometimes people gonna say, oh wait a minute, they looking at, how you know about that?
Right.
I didn't see nobody at the meeting. No, it was online, I got the transcripts. Here's what you did, man. Right. We didn't like what you did. Now, here's what we want you to do. Mm-hmm. And believe it or not, I mean, elected officials, you know, they need help. Sometimes people think like, oh, you know, I know sometimes people, they come directly at elected officials. I want you to do. They start yelling at you and screaming at you. Like, hold on, slow down. Like,
you don't even play all that.
Yeah, you ain't even send me an email. You ain't give me what exactly do you want? And I can assure you, man, 9 out of 10 times, once you get the email, once you figure it out, and they actually get the real message, they're going to respond to it. You know, sometimes you may have an intern there, may answer on the phone. They may have not gotten the message, but for the most part, when they get something that makes sense, they move out on it. And then also, you also have to understand that they govern for a large number of people. So something that you might want in your community, everybody else in the community might not want it. Right. And then can you accept that? Some people, oh man, they ain't do what I told them. Yeah, man, but you was just 5 people. We had 1,000 people said that they didn't like what you said or what you wanted to do. Yeah. So how do we sort of work together? And that's what's missing. I think once we all figure out, okay, here's what we all want. We want overall quality of life. We want safe schools. We want a nice, overall nice neighborhood. We just got to figure out what exactly is that, and how do we get there?
Right, together. I'm going to tell you something, man. My mom was very, peace and blessings upon her soul, was very resourceful, man. My mom, when Sherelle Parker was a councilwoman up Wadsworth, my mom would go to her office, utilize. My mom called 211. She called people I didn't even know could help you. But she taught me a lot about, like, really using your resources and know that we don't use all our resources in our community.
We don't. We leave it on the table.
So the thing is, a lot of us don't know the resources we have. And that's why these podcasts are good to have, so people can get information and know these things. Because a lot of things that you were saying, I didn't know that we could do.
Oh, man, if you just take your time and just go down to any elected official office, they're right at City Hall, man. Any one of them. Like, right. You got 17 council members. You got the commissioner's office. You got the register of wills office. You got the city controller's office. You got all these different offices that are open and there for you. We just go there and just talk to them. Hey, I got this problem. I got this issue. Because we get calls for everything, right? Mm-hmm. So, yes, about voting, but if somebody get us on the phone, they're going to say, hey, I need help with this. I need that. We're not going to turn them away. Okay, cool. What do we help? We're going to call people up. We're going to get you the help that you need, because that's like how I was sort of raised up from Senator Benson Hughes. I worked for him for 6 years.
Right.
Okay. And so his whole thing was always help people out. That's it. They call, they want help. Because a lot of times when people are calling an elected official's office, they done called up their friends. They used up all their lifeline. So they calling us and they want help. And we got to help people. You know, that's why y'all sent us and voted us here for. And the thing is, right, and then you don't got to be stuck with somebody that's not doing their job. Right. It's the question not, okay, this person did what I want him to do, he's lazy, this, that, third. All right, cool, but if you keep electing them back in, then you ain't got nothing to say. Yeah. We got to get them out. Okay, if they not being good the way how you want them to, get somebody else, put them right back in there.
Put the different person in office.
Hey, man.
But I got a good question. I don't even know the answer to this question. What was your entry? How did you get into politics? What attracted you? Like, what were you doing before politics? How did this happen?
So here's the thing. Again, you don't think you're doing politics. Politics is doing you. So everybody is practicing politics, no matter which way you're doing. Whether you're a street sweeper or you're a street vendor, like former Mayor John Street, like no matter what you're doing, you're talking and communicating with the community.
Right.
So once the community see you as a leader, they're going to elect you and say, hey, we want you to do it. But I never really wanted to be in politics. Like, I have a speech impediment. I never was really thinking about it. The only thing what I wanted to do was just be inside the construction union with my dad. Like, that's all I wanted to do was be in Local 332. Like, I looked up to him. That's all I wanted to do, just be a construction
Historical
worker.
time.
That's working 332 with Sam Staten and them. Like, that's all I wanted
That's
to
all.
do.
That was your
Crazy
dream.
That was
is,
my dream goal.
Look where that want got you.
Yeah,
know?
because
Wanting to be like your dad and go behind him.
yeah, but it was crazy because the thing about it is I wanted to be that so bad. They would use that as a carrot and stick approach. Oh, okay, yeah, you want to be in a union, right? Oh, okay, well, go to college, keep your nose clean, do this, do that. You know, be a driver for State Representative Louise Williams Bishop. All this stuff that they had me doing. I'm like, come on, I just want to be in the union. And wow, and come to think about it, they was training me each part of the way to be involved in politics. Like, okay, cool, you did all these different things. You know, you gonna run for traffic court judge? I was like, traffic court judge? I'm not a lawyer. What you mean traffic court judge? People need help down there, you know? And I said, okay, wow. So I did the research on it. We won. We came in first place. And then the moment that I won for traffic court judge, now I'm going back 2011.
Wow.
Came in first place, and they abolished the office as soon as we got there.
Wow.
Matter of fact, it was 2013. So I was like, wow. So at that point, I was really like, you know what? Forget politics. That was a tough, dark time for me because I ran, came in first place, and the state legislator came, and then they got rid of the traffic court. There was a lot of corruption and stuff like that going on. They just got rid of it.
Had to be a hurt piece.
Man, so I was like, wow. So I was at that point, I mean, I went through like depression. I mean, it was just a lot. Like, I was like, man, why would they do that to me? Like, you know what I mean? So I was like, well, forget politics. Let me get back and just, try to get back in the union. That's my reason.
Back to the union, baby.
Now, my father,
I want my own union.
That's what I'm saying, right? So my father, he passed away.
How old were you when your father passed away, man?
I was about 20, 21.
Wow, that was that many years ago?
It was that many years ago.
That's crazy,
I was about 21. And so that was like in my senior year at Cheney. So by the time we left Cheney, boy, he passed away. And then my older brother, Ryan, he took his spot down in the union. He filled in. He was a young boy back then. He was only 33.
Right.
So he had to fill some big shoes. So I was like, well, look, I still want to, be in the union. That's it.
Right.
But they were still like, nah, Dad, I didn't really want you in the union. Nah, we ain't going to do that. We just going to keep on pushing you. And then it fell through with traffic court. And I was like, wow, it's just when I kind of had doubts about politics myself.
Right.
I said, I don't know. I said, this is what it is. I'm the first Muslim ever elected, a judge across the state. Ooh. There's people from all across the world like, man, alhamdulillah, man, a Muslim got in, Omar Kareem Sabir. I'm like, yeah.
I feel like we got to clap it up.
And so it was like, I was like, wow, so that hurt me. And I said, okay, cool. You know what? And the state senator Vincent Hughes, he called me up and said, look, he said, your numbers was good. Why don't you come work for me? I'm like, I work for you. I said, y'all just voted to get rid of the job. Not him per se, but the state senate. They got rid of it. And I said, well, and in the state legislature. So I said, all right. So I thought about it, took some time. I reached back out to State Representative Louise Williams Bishop because I was her driver. And I asked her, I said, hey, Rep, should I get with Senator Vincent Hughes? Should I work for him? And she said, man, he's decent. She said, get with him. He's a good guy. I said, man, this man's honest. And to hear her talk about people like that, and she don't say that about a lot of people, I said, I got to be with Senator Vincent Hughes because I'm from Overbrook, so he represented that area. So I was happy to serve my family and friends, live up the way. I said, you know what? I'll do it. It took a lot for me to get back in politics because I was bitter, I was hurt. But you can't
do it.
Yeah, but you can't always, like, when politics go your way, you ride with it, but then when it don't go your way, you back up. So I said, you know what? Practice what I preach, take the pain, serve the people. That's what I want to do anyway. And them 6 years, they flew by, man.
Right. So,
That's something.
real quick question, right? How did it feel being named one of Philadelphia's most influential African Americans by the Philadelphia Tribune, and then later being commended by the president for your exceptional work in supporting voter participation in Philadelphia elections, especially coming from the city yourself?
Oh, man. You know, when you get that presidential, like, letter and recognition, that joint come in the mail. It'd be like, the honorable such and such. You're like, wait, that's to the president. Like, is it a mistake? You open it up, just got paper. It's like the best paper. Like gold. Like great.
Good stuff.
You be feeling that, John. You be like, wow, his name on it. Like, man, you know, wow. It just bring it all back home. Like, I'm just from West Philadelphia. Like, it's like certain feelings I got. Like, I got that feeling when I was on Hodge. Like, you know, like, man, you know, I mean, why would Allah take me and put me over Saudi Arabia? Like, why would he choose me out of all the people?
Right.
You know, when I got married, when I got children, it was one of those sort of feelings like, wow, you know what I mean? We doing sort of big thing just on doing my job.
So,
and, you know, it was just transformational. And then the Tribune piece, being a young guy, you know, you always sort of seeing those people doing it, like them old heads, like, that you always look up to.
Right.
And to be on that stage, man, to look on my son's eyes, really, it was just like, man, you know what I mean? Like, Dad,
this is happening.
you know what I mean? Get them few little moments, man. Like, you know, my son looked up to me. I said, wow, I like that.
And then being black, a black man at that, it's just, that's empowering in itself.
So did you feel any pressure with your father being such a prominent man?
Actually, no, because with him being a prominent man, he took me and he showed me certain things. So he didn't make it to see 50, you know. So, you know, as a younger man, it's like when we was about 13, 14, he had a store down left in Mount Vernon, and he from Richard Island.
Right.
So we had moved up to like Overbrook. So I didn't really know like him on that side of it. But he's like, well, come on down, get to know me, like know who I am. And we spent like 3 like summers down there because his job was at Local 333 Union Hall. That's at 1310 Wilder Street. So we was there, man, you know, being a cashier, being a manager, just dealing with the people down there.
Right.
And you dealing with all the people that grew up with him. So he telling all the stories he grew up with. Man, it was just a crazy sort of thing. Like, you know, it's crazy how law worked because that short time that I had with him, like, so I'm 14, 15 when he got me down there, 16. You know, by 21, he's gone.
Wow.
So, man,
But
that was just a great
you was
experience.
around like a really good group of black prominent men like Sam State and your father. It was just some real good brothers.
Oh, man, Imam
And that-
Shamsuddin.
Imam Shamsuddin,
Yeah, all of that,
Imam
man.
Nuruddin.
Yes.
Just some brother Farouk, just some real good, sturdy brothers that didn't have an ulterior motive that really showed us love, man. Like that
And it
father
matters,
image, you
right?
know
And
what I
it
mean?
matters. And the crazy thing, you don't really think about it. Like, so I went to Cheney too. So my whole entire life, I saw nothing but African Americans in leadership positions. And you don't know what that does to the psyche. So it's very critical that we sort of take these young men and that we show them that, hey, man, we can, you know, we have institutions.
Right.
It may not be the institutions that everybody like, but we do have institutions. And that, I think that really like something that we got to think about. Like, you know, I know people talking about establishing schools and stuff like that. But we got to work on that.
I want to touch on something real quick.
Excuse me.
I know that you took a painful loss in the last week or two of your nephew. You know, may Allah make his grave spacious, forgive his sins, grant him paradise. But I just wanted you to touch on the situation a little bit, tell us a little. I didn't want to really say the story. I'd rather you tell it. Just tell us a little bit if you don't mind touching up on it.
Sure. I mean, it was a tragic sort of incident, and it's occurring, you know, far too frequent.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, if you had somebody that was 16, 17, it was a big deal when they died.
Right.
You know what I mean? But now it's kind of like it's just normal.
Yes.
And so Mujahid Ibn Jamal Sabir, it's my brother's Jamal's, one of his sons, his middle son. And it was Thursday evening, and he didn't come home that Thursday night, and their parents was looking for him, and they didn't know exactly where he was at. The assailants had took his ID and everything. So they didn't know when the time they did find him, the police identified him as I believe it was a 25 or 27-year-old black man.
Wow.
So he's sitting.
How old is he?
16.
16.
This is what we heard. I mean, again, this is what they said happened. Still more needs to be looked at. But at the end of the day, he was in the morgue, for at least about 2 or 3 days while their parents are calling hospitals, looking for him. They think he's missing, and that's what happened. They ended up doing fingerprints on him, identified him, and they reached out to the parents. And we're still looking for whoever's responsible for it. So it happened right off 61st Cobb Street, right in that back area. A person that was walking a dog had found him. So we definitely want to do better. He didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
So if anyone knows anything, it's very critical that we do this because these assailants are still on the streets, so they could do it to somebody else. And I know sometimes we think like, no snitching, no this. Nah, that's not the essence of when somebody say like no snitching. When you're not snitching, that's if me and you decide that we want to do a crime together. We all agree to do it. Okay, then somebody get caught, and that's telling on somebody. It's not the same thing.
No, we private citizen.
Yeah, we just talking about your own private citizen. If you hear something, if you know something, and not just that, any murder that you see, anything that's happening, when we sort of had that culture, that's why people are going to start feeling safe. And how certain murders get solved, and they say, well, how does they solving these murders and not solving ours? It's a lot of people that's leaving out critical information, and they're not saying anything. So that way, you're protecting these assailants out here, and they're out here doing whatever it is they want to do. It's a shame.
Endless cycle.
Endless cycle.
That's my worst fear, especially having a son who is 20 years old. So that is a big fear of mine, and I'm very sorry to hear that happened. And my condolences to you and your family.
Thank you, man. I got 4 sons, man, and I have anxiety, man, every time they leave the door.
Yeah.
Like I always my
So
wife.
what you tell them, I mean, like what you tell them to give them to take to the world, like even in these dangerous environments, might have to catch the bus in Philly.
That's the thing. That's the thing, right? Even with the bus, right? And me and my wife was having this conversation, like my kids don't catch the bus, right? And I'm like, my oldest son is 14. When I was 14. I was all over the place. I was 12 years old. I'm down the gallery and all this. But my son don't know how to catch the bus. And I'm like, it's like.
That's not a bad thing, though.
But do you put him on the L? I mean, man.
Yeah.
Thing crazy.
Yeah, I mean.
You know what I mean? But the pandemic.
Right. I haven't been on a train in a minute.
Right.
Somebody was telling me it's different. The young kids down there smoking, jump. I say, is that crazy? I know it's been some years. Yeah, they say they light up right in front of you, man, on the train. I said, wow.
And apparently I heard you have to have bus pants.
What you mean? What's that?
Sit down. You got to have bus pants.
Oh, wow.
They say the seat's so messed
That's
up.
what I heard, man. I haven't been on the bus in a while.
I could believe a lot changed, definitely in the year.
I mean, but that's not normal. I don't think we should live like that, right? So, so me and my wife, we did talk. Look, you're going to have to learn how to do it. It is what it is. Because I remember my mom distinctively, me and my brother, we was going to the club up in Germantown in West Philly. We was about 9, 10 catching the bus from all across the city.
Clubbing?
No, going to the boys' club, man.
Oh, okay.
Catching that bus.
Not that club, man. He may say, God damn.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're the
He's
dad.
like, y'all go to the
The Boys
club
and Girls
at
Club.
night.
The Boys and Girls
All
Club.
right.
Boys and Girls Club. We just shortened it up, called the club. Yeah, right off Shelton Avenue.
Yeah, I know what I
Back in the
said.
good old days, man.
Yeah. So we definitely trying to, but
Back when you had to keep change on you for the phone booth just in case you needed your
all
mom or
that,
dad.
man. Yeah, that's the thing. We didn't have no cell phones. We ain't have none of that, man. Just like, and I think we can sort of go back to that because my oldest son, he don't got social media yet.
Right.
Like, he don't got a cell phone. It's like
Your oldest son? How old is he?
14.
Okay.
Yeah, no, man, got because I was reading this article, man, was really talking about how the owners that make social media, TikTok, they don't let their kids have social media.
I said, yo, I read that.
And I said, you know what? I said, wow, man. I said, if they ain't doing, I said, why would I do that?
Right.
And they got like this whole like group. It's like these concerned moms, and they did studies on this stuff. They were saying that it's one thing like they said they never met a parent that sort of regretted not allowing them to use social media. So, you know, we have to sort of work on it.
Good practice.
Yeah, it got to be, you know, we got to have good communication. Again, we don't got the pay phones no more. You know, it's funny. I was talking to my kid about a CD. He never saw a CD in his life. I said, yo, we
That's
CD,
crazy.
bro.
But that's so
Never saw it
real
in his
though.
life.
We used to wait in lines for tape,
buy
CDs.
Or
all
even
that stuff.
Rotary
man.
phones. They don't know what
Records,
those
the
are.
rotary phones. It's just stuff is just moving just so fast. But I still think it's timeless principles. I don't think we should still get wrapped up into all of that stuff that they talking about. I still think we still got to bring those experiences back.
Right.
Taking people, just simple stuff like taking people to the beach, like, now, and you know, you remember that used to be like so much stuff for younger people to do.
Right.
Like if you ever wanted to go to POW, baseball,
Yeah.
that wasn't really no sign, no permission slips, none of that stuff. It just be like, okay, you just want to go do this stuff. They would just be there for us. I know there's certain things we got to check on now, but we definitely sort of can get back to that though. Yeah. Some stuff, you know.
I for one would say this, right? Back being young, when you used to ride your bikes and things like that, you be gone for hours, and your parents wouldn't
Right.
know where you were because there weren't no cell phones. I remember riding my bike
Right.
because I'm originally from West Philly. I remember riding my bike. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere.
All day long.
Not getting home until
It
later.
was a
and
little
parents don't know
safer
where you
though.
were.
It
But
was a
was
little
safer.
safer. You could go a block or two over back then.
I ain't gonna lie, I
But
missed that.
going to the creek.
Missed that.
I mean, I remember
Yeah.
all that stuff, like going to the creek, just like doing all kind of stuff, man. Like just regular stuff. And I remember people playing football in the middle of the streets.
Yeah.
Girls playing double dutch, like all that stuff. It's just not happening no more. And I understand why, and there's a lot of other stuff too. Because I do remember back then we all had the same neighborhood schools, right? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
so you sort of knew everybody in the neighborhood. You knew everybody's parents. So it was kind of like, you know, so people got, you know, these charter schools now. So it's like you might all live on the same block, but people might be going to different schools, so you don't know nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why I think we can reintroduce ourselves.
I think that's needed.
You know,
It's
just
definitely
saying
needed.
somebody on your block, you know what I mean? I know people don't like to talk to people no more, but we can talk to people. And we got to fit the neighbor back inside a neighborhood. We can do that.
And back to where they like, I tell your mom, you know, you was scared. You never knew who your mom know and who
Never
they
know.
see. Oh, and
Man, young boy curse the lady out right
Right.
now. Mom, what?
listen, you get home and your mom give you a whole rundown of what you did, and you don't know how she knew. Somebody done told her.
I remember when, and we talked about neighborhood schools, right? Remember the teachers used to live in the neighborhood too. So a lot of times the teachers would know boo 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 bam. So you couldn't even cut up even on a week, like on a weekend, because they'd be there. I never forget my teacher, she would walk like 3 or 4 miles every single day. And she would know everything. So by the time we got back to school, oh my goodness, I don't know. I mean, I'm going back a little bit, so I'm gonna go back 6th grade. I remember this teacher, oh my gosh, I was being real disrespectful. I was like, one thing
Hold
she
up,
hated.
what school? You wasn't in Sister Claire Muhammad yet?
Well, it's a little after. So I left Claire
Okay.
Muhammad in like 5th grade.
5th grade, okay.
So I'm like in 6th grade, I'm at Bieber. So I'm 12 years old, being disrespectful. Man, I was like spitting like in the trash can, right? I would spit like the gum and just spit it directly in the trash can.
Right.
And she was like, no, why don't you get a napkin? Spit in a napkin, da-da-da-da-da. Then you put it in the trash can. I'm like, oh, wow. Keep on doing it, being disrespectful. She walked up on me. I thought she was she gave me a 2-piece, like, boom, boom. I was like, whoa. She hit me.
You don't believe that happened?
I looked at her. She was like, I was like,
You said, who is this lady?
and the crazy thing about it, I was cutting up and we had report cards at night.
Oh,
So as soon as my parents came up there, I'm acting stupid. My parents came up there.
you just wasn't thinking that day.
I wasn't thinking that day. And the craziest thing about it was, she told my parents, and they was like, good. Now I'm gonna get him when we get home. Thanks for telling me.
That was before when people nowadays you put your hand on somebody's kid, boy.
No, but I'm saying right. But what's the balance though? Right now, I really truly understand. I know it's a different environment, but what's that level of like discipline that we got? Like, because now we look at.
Do you believe in beatings?
No, I don't.
Not at all.
No.
You tell your 14-year-old son, I need you to take out the trash. Dad, you do it, man. I'm tired.
Right. Now I stand up.
Wake
And I
me up
probably can't say
later.
what I would do on this camera
Right.
if that did happen, occur, hypothetically. But I mean, you know. But you know what the funny thing about these kids are not really that they're not really that bad. See, like when we was younger, it was like, you know, you had some bad apples, and they would, you know, they would be where they were, but they just never would have got out of pocket with the parents.
Right.
But with, I would say, some of those kids that act like that is number one. You know, we do have a lot of undiagnosed like mental health things. So when you see that crazy, that outlandish behavior, I understand that could be an issue. But for the most part, I think certain parents may want to be friends with their kids. And you can't be friends with your kids and
you gotta separate
raise
the
your
two.
kids at the same time.
Gotta separate the
And
two.
so as they're younger, you have to sort of guide them, let them know, hey man, we're not going to go there. We're not going to do it.
Well, you know, our dads, there was certain things you couldn't do or say. I don't care what
First
was
of all, you
going
wasn't even
They could
trying.
be
That's
dead
crazy,
wrong.
man.
Yeah, you wasn't even
Son.
trying with our dads back
Now,
then.
them old heads, they were just crazy, man. I was
They was
like,
different.
yo, man, like they just did not play no games. It was like, no, we're not
And they
playing
were
no
strong as
games.
hell. They were strong.
They would answer the phone, like we should be like, hello? Nah, I answer the phone, hello, say yes. I'd be like, okay. Everybody that walked inside the crib, whether you Muslim or not, they got the salams. And the funny
was
thing
my
about it,
pop.
right, and there's the funny thing about it, a lot of our friends that I know like years, they ended up accepting Islam, like the way how they was treated, coming into our house, you know, we going to the masjid, it don't matter, everybody's coming. Like, that's just the way how it was back then. And again, I think we can have some sort of like power. Like, you know, at the end of the day, if a brother not around and we know these people, we start with our family first. Any nieces, any nephews, and then it might even be an issue where a father may have issues with their son. Cool, the uncles can come and step in, the cousins can step in.
Right.
So sisters, you know, feel free to reach out to those brothers inside the family, the uncles, because you definitely want to try to bring those people together to see what we can do to sort of correct the behavior. Because you need men inside the house. You definitely need a man inside the influence of a young African-American man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
As
critical.
great as moms are, you know, ain't nothing like a man raising a man. So we need it. And moms are great. Single moms are very great. But you do need that man to help him to that next level.
Well, I think it's a level of trust, right? I don't think we trust each other, right? And I think even men sometimes, I think we don't talk enough as much as we probably should. Like, hey, man, my young boy tripping. Cool, because I remember my dad and my uncle, like, there might be things that my dad didn't want to talk to me about or couldn't talk to me about. He was running all the place through my uncle. Uncle just hit me. I'm like, dang, man, how he just hit me. So, I mean, I think we need to, again, I think we just need to sometimes just reflect and think about the things that were successful, and we can go back to doing them again. Like, I don't think we got to throw away our bad things. We can.
Yeah.
It's the truth, man. It's hard, man, raising kids and stuff. So how do you balance, like, marriage, your job, family life, kids? How do you have time for all this stuff, man?
Work in progress. But what I try to do is, I know I can't, like, be two places at one time. So guess what? If I'm going to speak, guess what? Kids are coming with me. Bring your homework. You're going to do it with me. Like,
Right.
that's the way we got to do it.
We're together.
You got to do it all together. Because you're going to get pulled all over the place. And then they don't see a lot of things that you're doing.
Right.
They're going to build resentment for what you're doing. Because I used to have resentment for the unions. Like that, my dad was home all the time. I said, man, I never see him. I used to hate the union a little bit. That's why he said, well, just come on down to the store. Come right around the corner from the job. You could just be around. Just get the good, the bad, everything. And you just going to roll with me. And I was like, wow. So I try to just bring them around, expose them to everything that I'm doing so that way they can sort of understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Right. Because life is short. We can't assume that we're just going to be around for years and years.
Right.
So a little bit of time that we do got on Earth, I just bring them all around. And then we just have fun about it, man.
So I got one question. Would you ever think about or consider one day running for mayor of Philadelphia?
Wow.
Good question.
You talk about life balance. That's a crazy job. Because you got to think about
stressful job.
Well, yeah. I mean, but you got a good team. It's not. But just ultimately, we got like almost 2 million like citizens here, and we diverse. Right. Like it's the majority black, but you still got all different subcultures. Black area, right? Mm-hmm. Then you got white areas. You got Latino areas. You got LGBT areas. You got Asians, you got different classes. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of moving parts with our city. And every time there's a murder, you get notified. Every time there's a fire, you get notified. Then you got to think about schools. Then you got to think about wrecks, everything. That's you. So, hey, what do you want us to do?
Like a lot.
And the mayor got to sit up here and say, okay, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. Everything runs to the mayor. Basically through the city, man. It's a crazy job. You're going to get all the blame when everything goes wrong. You're not really going to get no credit when everything going well. So, I don't know. I mean, if it's something that the city will want, then I work for the city. So, I would have to do it if that's what y'all want. But I think we got a great mayor in Sherelle Parker. Like, when I really look at her and, like, the passion that she has for the job, a lot of people don't want to do it. Like, and she's there. Like, when you call her, she be, like, right there. She have her people there.
What do you think about all the criticism she's been receiving?
I was just about to ask that.
I mean, she going to get the criticism regardless.
That's what it means to be. A lot of people that criticize her.
They do. But at the end of the day, she going to do it her way. And it's a male-dominated industry. And it's actually, all of the people that run a lot of the departments are actually, they don't look like us.
Right.
So you got to break down barriers from, like, there's people that's in office from Frank Rizzo.
Damn.
Because you got patronage, you got unions, so.
That was a crazy time.
They've been in there for a long time. Like, we just started working, like, in the city.
Right.
And so a lot of people, they got to give us grace a lot of times because it's like, we just getting there. Like, there's people that be working there for 30, 40 years, so, but to say all that to say, man, she doing a fabulous job. She gonna get her critics, but man, she working tirelessly.
I think she's doing a very good job, and I know she's going to be highly criticized, but I love the work that she's doing, and it's not going to happen overnight. We have to understand that. She ain't been in there a year, they be criticizing. She just got in office.
But you know what, though? But criticism is not a bad thing. I mean, listen, you want to think about whatever way you want to run the city, that's fine. We're going to think about what we want to think about, the way how we want to run the city. Right. And our idea is, okay, if she's pushing our agenda, we got to stand up and say, hey, we like what she's doing. And that's where we're silent and let people take her down, then that's shame on us. And, she's the first woman, not just African-American woman, she's the first female in, almost 250 years, almost 300 years?
Wow.
So,
that's...
Big
ups to Mayor Sherelle Parker.
Mayor Sherelle Parker, man, the boss lady.
Shout out to you. Hopefully, one day you'll come on Filoosh Talk, sit and talk.
Love to have you.
Listen, send her the invite.
We definitely will.
Send the invite. She would.
You know how I do that. That ain't no problem. That's the easy part.
We got one more question coming from our videographer.
So, not biased, right?
Good.
Do you feel like our local officials do enough?
Yeah. You got to think about, elected officials, local officials, we get judged on different standards. So somebody that you see typically a lot of times, just because you win, it's going to be somebody that have a negative sort of idea about you. It's just how it is, right? I mean, you accept it because you took the job, right? So you got to, but man, you have a thick skin. And, you know, they're going to work as hard as you allow them to work. See, I used to work at Sizzler, right? Before Sizzler closed. We had three managers.
Old school.
Right? We had 3 managers. We had one manager who let us do whatever the heck we wanted. We had one manager you couldn't get over on anything. And then you had this like leader manager. He was slightly to like the mean side, didn't go, but he was kind of like lenient. And I think we had to decide what type of way we want to be. Because somebody's saying, look, I work for you. You got to tell them what to do. You can't expect people to solve all your problems. And if you go ahead, shoot.
I'm from the 8th district.
Okay.
And Cindy Bass has been the leader of the 8th district.
Right.
But the 8th district is more than Nicetown. Right. So
Right.
I can't say I've seen progression in the 8th district. And
But what are you basing it off of, though?
Tom.
And what are you comparing it to?
affordable housing, an avenue is supposed to be a place of commerce, right?
Right.
You seen Wayne Avenue?
Well, see, here's the thing, right? Just you go anywhere where it's collective African Americans at, Baltimore, whatever. We had people that's coming over from different parts of the world that's coming in here, man, dominating. We can't even sell each other fried chicken. So is it her fault? Or is it kind of like we got to take that responsibility to say, hey, look, I want to open up this business right here, and I need your help and your assistance.
So how do we do it?
Well, that's the free market. Like you talk about affordable housing, you got people that's coming from New York. They come in here in droves, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 people. At the end of the day, if I could buy a crib here and pay $300,000, I had to pay $1.5, $2 million in New York, and it's only a 2-hour ride away. That's the private market. Like, we really got to come together, honestly, and really, like I say, grab these properties. And we got 10,000 tangled titles. That's really the problem. We got about $2 billion in real estate. And what we're doing is we're selling our properties to these out-of-state developers who don't want to let our family have one.
Yeah.
And we're selling our properties for $10,000, man. We're not letting our brothers or our cousins, somebody, get these properties.
Right.
That's really the issue. Like, if I could tell you just one real thing, if we really could look at the wealth that we already have, it's literally like $2 billion. And, and then the people that are doing kind of well, they don't want to live in the city no more.
Right.
Like, they don't want to buy grandma's house. Right. And my thing is, buy grandma's house. If you want to send your kid to private school, whatever, you don't send a kid to private school. But you're leaving all of this equity to go outside the suburbs. And some of those suburb schools are not even if you get to the Greeks, they put you on different tracks. They don't even let you get access to the AP course and everything else.
Right.
And you paying all them crazy taxes. So I think it has to be a reshift in the way how we want to do it with the free market. Like, seriously, when we get our income taxes back, like, seriously.
Right.
If we put 3 or 4 people together, for real, we get our income taxes together, we can open up, man, like a little chicken spot or like one of these little spots these people coming over here, man, doing. But we don't have that sort of concept. You know what I mean? We want to get like jobs where it's like, you really can open up these businesses, man. And I can tell you with a surety, if you're just talking about Cindy Bass, like, she's passionate, like, and she's around all the time. Maybe not agree with whatever, she got her opinions, but in the day, she's a good person. Okay. And I sitting here telling you, bro, like, if you got a business and a plan and you ready to rock and roll, she's not gonna stop you.
I got a nonprofit actually that services the Northwest, and we have trouble getting funding. We have trouble getting funded from different places. And I'm listening to the show. You said the funding's out there. So
it's
how do we get to it?
But now nonprofits, they got a different model now. You really got to be able to, okay, how can I sort of service this specific area? You got to look at the nonprofits that might already be there. Mm-hmm. Cool. You got to really have like a business plan. And then you got to look at like how much funding, like, can you get? Like, say if you want to monitor, I don't know what your nonprofit is. Let's just say
God Stars. We help teens and tweens with professionalism, diversion programs, different things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so you probably want to have to make a deal with DHS to be a vendor for DHS. That way you don't got to depend on donations coming in, because you got to have a business plan. You got to say, okay, a lot of these funders now, they look at your thing and say, okay, well, how if I give them 100,000, is he going to be able to make it in 5 years? So it's real technical, but we got resources, man. Just call me. We'll put you together with city, economic development. It's a lot of different organizations, and they'll stair step you and show you how to do it.
Okay.
But you definitely want to be able to be like a vendor, though. You want to be a vendor.
Okay. I got time for one more question. I got one
last question.
One last question, right? So, Pennsylvania being a Commonwealth, when will they get to the point where they let marijuana? No, seriously, because I go out to Colorado and marijuana has done.
Oh, for recreational, right?
Yeah, it's done amazing for Colorado, where they sending kids to school for free because it's so much money.
Yeah.
When does Pennsylvania get on that wave?
It's a lot of movement in the state because it's bringing in so much tax revenue for these, and I think it's 16 states that got recreational already. Pennsylvania's an old state though.
Yeah.
It's an old, we barely, even with our liquor laws, bro, we close at 2, a lot of, so you got to think about in between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, it's like Alabama, it's rural. So we really got to really put the message out there about it. But we don't want to get caught up in just making it recreational, but allowing economic opportunities for the growers and the African Americans to be able to get in the business.
Right.
Because if you don't, we not never really going. It's going to make it real hard for us to be involved in it for the growing part and everything else. So there's a lot of movement there. I mean, it's a lot of movement there. They got it in Jersey. They got it in a few places.
It's around.
Yeah. I mean, so we were just at the Legislative Black Caucus. It was a sister that does a lot of the advocacy for that. I'll try to connect y'all to. But State Senator Sharif Street, he's big in that. So I'll reach out to his office and see exactly how you want to get in.
All right.
Oh, man, we just want to tell you how much we appreciate you for coming to Filoosh Talk this week. It's a beautiful conversation.
Yes.
We thank everybody that tapped in, all the questions, all the viewers. Hey, all the support, man. We just love it, man.
Well, I see you Uptown March. I'm going to come back before the election because we got to make sure that we do the right thing on Tuesday, November the 5th.
Right.
That's the date, Tuesday, November the 5th. I'll come back before the election. We got critical deadlines coming up, a voter registration deadline, our vote by mail deadline. We definitely want to have some time just for activation.
Definitely.
We got to activate unlikely voters, right?
Definitely. Right. I'm going to make sure we had you plugged in because we want you up here. We want to push the importance in voting in our community. Thanks for everybody tapping in. Filoosh Talk.
Filoosh Talk.
We had a great episode.
Yeah, thank you. Shout out.